Good morning. I'm Bob Zykowitz, your host this morning, Wednesday, October 12th, Columbus Day, although we celebrated it on Monday. But my guest this morning is my good friend, Michael Ritt. And Michael, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome
Always
to
a pleasure
the show.
to see you.
It's my pleasure, believe me. Being a call-in show, I'm going to pass on the telephone number first, and that's 663-3333. And I would like to ask you, please, if you call in, turn down your audio, because if you get feedback, it's kind of difficult. Okay, Michael, what do we have today in the dining service area?
What's going on? Well, one thing I wanted to talk about is that we've gotten a lot of comments and spoken to a lot of residents about the cafe, and we've listened to everybody's concerns and comments, and we've put together an action plan that we feel is going to resolve many of these issues, and you'll see that action plan being put into action in the near future. Another thing I'd like to go along with the cafe is Ernest Bester is our new assistant general manager for the cafe.
Yeah, I saw that on a.
Yeah, Ernest started this Monday and he comes from the Gaylord with years and years of experience, was in the Navy. You know, for me, that's always a little added thing for me.
A big plus.
A big plus, but yeah, he comes with years of experience, great guy. He's pretty much going to fill the role that Chef Robert did. So his job description and his job duties will be pretty much similar to what Chef Robert did when he was over in the cafe. So we're very happy to have him, and I tell everyone, introduce yourself.
His name is?
Ernest Bester.
Bester, okay.
So that's positive news for the cafe.
And hopefully we'll have Ernest on here to give us first-hand information.
Maybe on my next call-in show I can bring him with me as a guest.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Please do.
I will. Today is Chef Rabina's Evening with the Chef, and that's an antique room, and she's got a really nice fall-type menu that she's doing for that. And, you know, you and I were earlier talking about the Evening with the Chef, and I know a lot of our newer residents don't really know what is Evening with the Chef. And Evening with the Chef, we do it 5 times a year, and myself and each of the chefs from each of the venues, and that'd be Chef Mark and Chef Zanab, Mama, Chef Suzanne from Garden Ridge, and Chef Rabina, do what we call an Evening with the Chef. And it's a menu that we call, you know, going off the reservation. And we all have our different styles of cooking, so it wouldn't be stuff you see up in the dining rooms. You know, I did wild boar for mine this year. Last year, I did alligator, you know, and they were both hits. So it's an opportunity for chefs to showcase their talents, to highlight their style of cooking. It's a nice, intimate evening. We do wine pairings with it. It's usually 4 or 5 courses. We do wine pairings with it. It's a very nice, relaxing evening.
I have chatted with several residents who attend. One of them that I've chatted with goes every time you have a chef's dinner. And she says she is always pleased with the preparation and the ambiance and the wine and all this that goes along with the dinner.
It's just a nice, elegant evening. It's more of an experience than just the meal. And it's also one of the few times, besides like Gale and the Seafood Fest, that all of us can come together and work together. Because we're all in our own little kitchens working. I'm working and walking around the communities, and all the chefs have their own venues to attend to and run. So it's one of the few times we actually get together, and it's fun. People, but it's actually fun, because very few times when we get together to work, we really enjoy it, you know, and it's just a good camaraderie, a good time that we get to spend with each other, which is far and few in between, and we get to showcase our talent.
Chef Rabina's on tonight, but do you also have other chefs that kind of help in the background?
Yeah, all the Chef Mark will be there. Myself, we'll have Mama from the Jefferson, Chef Zanab will be there, and we'll get some of the sous chefs. We like to get some of the sous chefs involved, because it's a great learning, teaching, and just an experience for them. You know, and hopefully one night they'll be doing their own evening with the chef.
Okay, you mentioned earlier about 5 of these chef dinners per
Correct.
year. So how much planning is going? Do you allow, for instance, the chef to say, I will do so-and-so? Does that particular chef, Robina as an example, does she pick out the menu?
It's her menu.
It's
We'll
her
sit
menu
down
all the
and
way?
it's the chef who's having that evening. It's their menu. Like I said, we all have a different style.
Yeah.
You know, I did a couple years ago, I did a night down on the bayou. So I did etouffee and jambalaya. I did the alligator. So I did mine around a theme. Sometimes we'll do it around a theme, sometimes a style, but we'll all talk about it, you know, because you want to talk to your coworkers and your peers and say, hey, what are your thoughts? Because you want to listen to what, you know, the other chefs have to say. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? That's great. And, you know, we all sit down around a table and we'll talk about the menu. But it's the chef who's actually, for that night, it's their final say and they'll write the menu. But we'll, you know, camaraderie, we'll get together and talk about it. So, but I like doing them. It's just, it takes you away from the regular operations. It lets you just, you know, you do whatever you want.
So your 2017.
We just got
is
that
pretty
schedule.
Well, is that scheduled?
Right, and that'll be coming out, you know, we could communicate that out. Now, we will sit down as the group, the 5 chefs, and we'll look at the dates.
You call in all your major shows.
Yeah, we all meet at least once a week together. And we go over, we'll meet on usually Tuesday, all the chefs from the different venues, and we talk about catering for that week, or once the catering meeting's over, we'll sit around the table and talk about whatever, you know, just what's going on. Maybe one chef needs help with something, another chef says, I got that, you know, so it's a good time to communicate, to build that working relationship. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the chefs here, the best group of chefs I've ever worked with, I will put them up against any group, anytime, anywhere.
Michael, that's saying a whole lot that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I
And
think
it says a lot for your chefs in all the various dining venues.
you know, we just had the gala last month, and honestly, I think we knocked it out of the park. You know, I've residents telling us, you know, one of the best meals I've ever had. The service was phenomenal, and you know, it was a great team effort, not just on culinary standards, but by dining standards. The whole team just came together, you know, and the service was excellent, and the room catering did a phenomenal job on the room. Milagros and Patrick and their team and G did a phenomenal job on the room, and all the chefs, Mark and Suzanne and Rabina and Zainab and the sous chefs, you know, and Priscilla and they all did a phenomenal job coming together and helping out. So,
Excuse me, Michael. This is a call-in show. 663-3333. You don't want me asking all the questions. Why don't you call in?
and another activity that's coming up, obviously this month, there's Halloween.
What do you have planned?
We're going to do decorations, and you're going to see the staff dressing up in costumes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And we're looking at the menu if we can do, you know, we may change a few names and say something like Ghoulie Goulash or, you know, Scary Spaghetti.
Yeah.
You know, we'll put some names, but we're looking at, you know, what kind of menu we can do for Halloween. But we'll decorate the dining rooms, and, you know, the staff will be in costume. So, you know, there'll be things, and we're also looking at possibility of having a pumpkin carving contest between the
chefs,
the dining room. But we'll look at anybody who wants to. You know, if anybody wants to carve a pumpkin, we did it last year.
You're going to make us all feel young again, aren't you?
Age is just a number that they tell me. And then in December 2nd, we're going to have our annual chili cook-off, and I know that's a big hit with the residents. Each venue is going to produce 2 chilies. We're going to have a panel of judges. I've already gotten some entertainment. Same band that plays every year. They're really nice. You know, folksy. They'll do a little bluegrass, a little country music. We're going to decorate the We're going to decorate the conference center. So if you love chili, and we're going to do, it's not just going to be meat chili. You know, we're going to do vegetarian chili. We'll do all sorts of, you know, different types of meat. Maybe someone will do a turkey or a chili. So it's not, if you're a vegetarian, you can still come and enjoy the chili cook-off. And it's always been a big hit.
I was going to say last year, I understand it was a real blockbuster.
Yeah.
Went over big.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time.
Good. I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
I'm going into Woodland Skies dining room and I'm visualizing 2 square tables. One fairly large, the second one small. I'm hoping that you're, number one, that you're not going to order any more of those small tables. You know which ones I mean, Michael?
I do, and I'm going to write that down so that I can bring this up with the management and we can talk about
Secondly, because the tables are small, we have a bowl of soup which we just finished.
that. Correct.
We're eating our salad, and here comes the entree,
So it's a crowded table.
and it's a crowded table. And I think the bottom line is there any way that we could maybe tell the server to kind of hold off a little bit until we finish the salad, then come on?
Well, we actually have our dining operations meeting today at around 11:30.
Today?
Yeah. So that's when myself and Ty, Corey, Patrick from catering, all the GMs from all the venues have our meeting. So this is definitely something that I will mention at the meeting.
Wonderful. I hope that next month, when you come back on, you can say, hey, Bob, we listened. I'm thinking about the general services and when they came up with, okay, residents, we listened, we gave you new floors in all the elevators. And I hope to get the same response from you, that we listened, and we're not going to order any more small tables.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I
Great.
can definitely bring that up and we can have a discussion about that.
Okay. What else is new?
I think, you know, we're going into the fall, so it's going to be our busy season with catering, and a lot of the departments have their holiday parties, and we do a lot of, you know, functions and catering, and you have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, so, you know, it gives us a chance to do special menus for that. So it's going to be a good season. I'm excited about having Ernest, like I said, in the cafe, so we get the final piece upstairs there, and he's, you know, he's a strong manager, so that should help smooth things out.
One of the things that I've observed, we have a call. May we have that call, please? And good morning, you're on Channel 6.
Yes, good morning. I was wondering when we were going to have the dining meetings like we used to for individual dining rooms.
The town halls? Is that one of your questions?
That was going to be one of my questions about the town hall meeting on a semi-annual basis. Thank you for your call. We'll answer it on the phone, on the line.
I'm going to, again, I don't have dates for that. I know that's something that we looked up that we
No,
wanted.
you are going to do it.
Yeah, that's something that we looked up that. I think it's an important part of the communication between dining and the residents. So I will bring that up at our ops meeting. We'll have to obviously look at the calendar and see when we can do that. And like I said, next time you and I are on the air, hopefully I'll have some dates.
I'm going to look forward to that, Michael. Okay, getting back to dining services and other questions that we may have. We have now listed about 4 major milestones coming up between now and the end of the year. The Halloween, the Chef's Robina tonight.
Chili cook-off.
Pardon?
The chili cook-off and a carving
I wanted to
contest.
ask you about what major plans do you have for Thanksgiving and Christmas? Are you going to have the traditional Thanksgiving dinner, or you're going to...
Yeah, I think what we do is we do the buffets on Thanksgiving.
Buffet.
And we
Okay.
do the traditional. Now, we don't do a buffet here in Woodland Skies. I don't think we do. But I know we do buffet, obviously, in Jefferson and at Fireside. And yeah, I mean, I will tell you this. When we do the whole turkeys, the turkey with the stuffing and the mashed potatoes, no matter what you have on the menu, it's one of the most popular items. You all just love your turkey with stuffing and all the fixings. So we'll do a traditional Thanksgiving Day meal. We do one for the staff as well, and that's around the first week of November, November 9th. And we do I'll get in here early in the morning and we'll cook something like 16 to 18 whole turkeys, and
Wow.
we'll do a couple we call top rounds, and we'll make all the trimmings and this is Thanksgiving Day lunch that we do for the whole staff, for the whole community. We do one here in Hunter's Crossing, and then we do another one later in the evening at Garden Ridge for the staff there. So we'll do a nice traditional, and I think everybody likes the traditional turkey and ham and the stuffing and the potatoes and the sweet potatoes and the green bean casserole and apple pie and pumpkin pie and pecan pie and all that good stuff.
Great.
And then Christmas, we'll again do like a nice Christmas meal. Obviously, we'll do a little ham, and we'll see what else we can, do traditional. Maybe we'll put a bread pudding out. That's a nice dessert for Christmas.
You mentioned the word lunch, and I want to tell you what I admire about you and your staff. Oh, okay. We have about 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
But what I admire is the fact that I see in my civilian way that you don't waste food. Example, if we have soup at night, at lunch the next day we'll have the soup. You don't throw the soup away after the dinner. You keep it for the next day.
Right.
And I'm sure you do this with other foods that you can.
The foods that we can, yes, obviously. We've talked about, in the Jefferson, it's a buffet.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing about Chef Zanab and Chef Delia and Pearl and her whole team over there is that they really have it down to a science, because that team's been together so long. They know, we run a menu. We know what the residents like. We know what they don't like. We know what days, when they do their Asian theme night, it could be beginning of the month, end of the month, Monday, Friday, Wednesday. We know it's going to be popular and know it's going to be busy. So, and we have systems in place. We record how much we prep when we do a buffet. We record how much we sold. So you see, okay, what's left over. And our system records this, and you'll have a history. So when the same menu comes up, it'll give you a history of, well, last time you did this bourbon salmon, you sold about 200. So that helps you with your production. So that helps in the Jefferson, and we really tend to watch our waste and reduce it. Another thing, we talk about the signature menu all day long, but that's one of the positives about the signature menu, where it's cooked to order. So when you order your filet or your salmon, I'm not putting 4 or 5 on. I'm cooking your one, then another order comes in. So I'm cooking to order. So there really is minimal, if any, waste. And like you said with the soups, we carry the soup over for the next day, because again, you want to take it and throw it out, and it's
Right.
just as good the second day. Sometimes people tell me the soup's better the next day because it sits there and the spices get to mix in and the flavors come out. So, we are very conscious of our waste. We do a lot of things with, we call them in-service, working with the chefs on proper cutting techniques so they don't waste when they cut up stuff or when they're making a sauce. Everything that we make in here has a recipe. So, and those recipes can be built to 1 to 1,000 if we had to. Because of our system, we can do that. I can take a cream of mushroom soup recipe and I can type in if I want to make it for 10 people or if I want to make it for 200. And it'll compute out that recipe to tell you need this much, and this much. So it really helps you on that aspect. So, and we also try to, when we run our specials, we try to cross-utilize items. If I have shrimp in here that I'm using, well, let me put it on one of my weekly specials. So I'm using more of it, frequently. So there's a lot of angles that we look at.
Michael, I have a question for our audience.
Okay.
Have I asked Michael all the questions that you would have asked? If not, 663-3333, and we do have a call.
Excellent.
Good morning. You're on Channel 6. May we have your call, please, or question?
Yes.
regarding waste, and also something that Chef Michael mentioned, bread pudding. Could we have that now and then as a regular dessert?
Thank you for your question.
That's absolutely something I can bring up with the chefs, because we are, and I'm not saying this because of the question, but last night I was in one of the kitchens and we were talking about what we're going to do every night. Obviously, we have rolls, right? Let's bring the rolls back. You cut them up, and if anybody's made bread pudding, stale bread, day-old bread is the best because it absorbs all the liquid. So we're looking at that absolutely. We're getting into the fall and the winter. A nice warm bread pudding might be a nice dessert to go instead of a cold cake or a cool one of the cold desserts.
Michael, we have another call.
There you go.
May we have your question, please? Good morning. You're on Channel 6.
Good morning. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking the call. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think it was, or maybe 2 or 3, in Jefferson there was a real disaster at dinner time, and we were denied entry unless we did carry out. And it was the lamb chop night, and a lot of us were turned away. I don't know if something can be done to avoid this, or I wish I could remember the date, and I can't. And it was probably towards the end of the month, which might not have been the best day to have lamb chops. Anyway, would appreciate your your comments. Thank you.
Well,
We thank you.
that's definitely something that again, and I've written it down, that when we have our meeting today, and I'll ask why. Why are we turning residents away? That really shouldn't be one of our policies. And, I'll take, maybe we should not have, and I'll talk to the chefs and look at maybe not putting lamb chops at the end of the month. Maybe that's something we want to do at the beginning of the month, because obviously we know around here at the end of the month it gets a little hectic and a little busier. So probably better meal planning on our part, which that's an easy fix. And as far as the denial of the residents to sit down, that's something that I'll definitely bring back and talk to management and talk to my boss about.
Good.
So, it really shouldn't, unless there was some accident in the kitchen or the kitchen had to close down or, some issue like that, I really don't see.
Well, thanks to our lady callers, you have some
I have some notes to bring
ammunition,
back.
if you will, for your meeting this afternoon.
Absolutely.
One of the other questions that came up at the dining table was, if I ordered a fillet, as an example, could I order the seconds on a fillet?
Well, and my understanding is that if you order your fillet, order your one fillet, you finish your meal, you can order a second fillet, and I'm not concrete on this, and my understanding is you will be charged, I don't know if you'll be charged another flex meal, but what we tend to tell everybody is order the one meal, complete that, and then if you want a second, do it that way. Because the problem is if everybody ordered, hey, I want a fillet and a salmon, I want, what will happen is the kitchen will just get inundated, and then that's going to affect everybody. Order your one meal, have it, you enjoy it that much, you want to order, maybe you want to order a second meal, we can go about it that way. As far as the charge, I want to say that there may be a charge. I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to be locked down on that. But again, that's something that I can...
Can we say, Michael, that you'll look into it maybe next month when we get back on again, if I'm the host, that we can discuss this?
Absolutely.
In more detail?
Yes.
Because I'm sure there are some people are curious, number one, and maybe they have such an appetite that they might want to have 2 steaks. But what concerns me is that I don't ever want to see a person order 1 steak and then order a second one and put it into a plastic bag. I don't want that.
Well, we really don't want, that's why we have the carry-out program.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want
We have one more
to,
call.
okay.
Good morning. You're on Channel 6. May we have your comment or question, please?
Yes, good morning again, Michael.
Good morning.
I'm calling a second time. The date of the lamb chop disaster was on Thursday, September the 29th.
Thank you for
the
that
call.
information.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, we're down to about the last minute or so of our
All right.
program, and it's gone by so quickly, Michael, I don't know where the time goes.